Well, hi everyone. Thanks for having us. It's pretty, even from afar, it's nice to see your faces. Maybe Jade, if you want to start discussing. Lorian.
Hey. Okay, so we are Lost and Find. I'm just gonna try to make like a very quick reminder of what we did. We started gathering to organize. The first idea was to have a bidding from 2021, and I mean we just started from scratch and started from convictions and everything, and came up with an idea that was wanting to work about the resources limitations, and then we started working on that island that is called Gua. And the idea was to kind of make an EASA only with the resources we'll find on that island, and kind of face the limitation that we should better face to have like sustainable designs and everything. And I mean, starting from that, we actually continued this path and created our association in 20. Well, we started in December 2019. So starting from EASA bidding, that was in October. Before, like, it's been almost 2.5 years, 3 years that we're working together. And I mean, so we started that collective process that we are going through. I mean, I'm going to talk about the collective process we have, the inner one we have in our association. And it's been a lot of experimentation, and I mean, we have a practice that's open to a wide scope of activities. It's not about architecture itself, but better like transition between the process of construction and how you actually came up with an idea and a project. And so it's better about focusing on the territory and understanding of the social system that applies over there. I think that started from that project of EASA. Since the beginning, it gave us a lot of freedom in our practice, and that's why we don't have a defined way of working. We will come up with a lot of our activities later. And yeah, I mean, then we went through the collective process of having like a common project that is not that defined and it has to be shared within all of our members. We started being like 8 members from EASA. Now we kind of like open the structure to everyone who feels like joining, and we kind of have few new members that joined lately. And yeah, I mean,
Maybe we can share a bit. So I don't know if you wanted to say something else. Or
no, just keep going. I mean, we had another pictures maybe from the bidding that we did.
Ah oui. Là, tu partages ton micro.
Ouais,
Non.
mais
Okay.
j'ai pas trop le choix.
Sorry, it's a bit contagious. Yeah, so I think the theme of commons is quite interesting, what you're exploring, and for us, it's always been a big part of what we wanted to do as architects. So kind of like one of the big things that we developed with Lost and Find is how do you work with people instead of like for them, or how do you kind of change the role, not change the role of the architect, but how do you make kind of architecture like the practice you shape it more like before the comment on dit la commande? Sorry?
Before the order.
Yeah, before the order of a building. Like, how do you shape the order? How do you like implement yourself on a territory and help people kind of get active in the process of making architecture, whether it's creating a new building or sharing one? So we kind of like our practice right now in the association is to kind of like gather people around the project and help them construct it with us, with our architecture tools, with our vision, but kind of like translating the need of the people and the need of the territory to make the project take shape before kind of like the whole we need a library or kind of sorry the program and everything. How do you shape the program with the people? And so our kind of like jobs is to create the tools to make that happen. So yeah, right now we worked, so the picture you can see, it's in the north of France. It's a chimney, and it was a project that we accompanied.
Yeah, that was actually the first project we did after the bidding. So when we transformed the whole process into an association and into a really professional activity, and it was in north of France. We were asked by an association over there, so it's close to Lille. To question with the people of different cities to invent a new way to use the chimneys of the old factories, because it was an area with a lot of textile factories, and now they're all gone. So there is always those kind of architecture staying in the cities. So our mission was to invent a new way to use those architecture pieces into the new way of life and the new needs of the city. So that was
also how to create like a common story around those things, because there's a lot of pain and a lot of like history around those symbols that are the chimneys, and how do you create a common story that is joyful and looking towards the future.
Yeah. So so that what mes choix, ça marche pas, c'est relou.
Experiencing difficulty. So it consisted in like creating moments and tools to kind of like help people express themselves also around this, because that's kind of what we feel is lacking also in the architecture practice, is the dialogue between people. And how do you tell someone like you can express a need, you can express a feeling, and around the built environments, and you can be heard also about those things. And that's kind of where we step in, and we try to create the dialogue between all the things.
That's the second project we are going through. So it's when we starting the bidding, so 2 years ago, we were working on a site on an island, on abandoned military fort, and we kept going through this project to try to make it a common place for the inhabitants on the city, on the island, because now it's completely closed and it's shared by different users and people. And our mission in this project is to make it a common place for associations, for kids, for youngs, and to share it with different people and activities. So this is a really long project, because for this one we
self-proclaimed ourselves.
Yeah.
On this thing.
So this is not an order from a municipality or an association, but we just find ourselves this subject, and now we're trying to make it an order from a municipality. And so for now, for 2 years, we've been organizing workshops on the island on summers, and we are going there like as often as possible to work with the inhabitants group that we've been shaping with this project. Yeah, and like this is a picture of last year workshop where we've been questioning these military sites that are abandoned, or there is a lot of architecture, military architecture on the island. So we were comparing how they are being used now in the modern city, and how this one could be used differently.
It kind of became a subject also, like how do you, in a very limited territory, how do you, instead of producing architecture, we use the one we have better? But I guess that's kind of like common sense, but it's also very hard to implement the sharing of spaces and the question of who owns the place and everything. So it's super interesting subjects, and it's interesting to see how they evolve during time, and how as architects we can help them evolve and not just be makers of shape, but also makers of places. And that's what we've been learning most out of this project. But still completely ongoing. But
so it's
always the same. Like we create tools and shape like subjects, and we also, like, instead of saying, okay, how do you share this building, we organize moments where, like, okay, look at those buildings, how they are shared, how they are used, how they evolved. What can we learn from those experiences that are actually happening on your territory, and how can that shape what will become, what this building that we are questioning can become, sort of.
And the third one that we wanted to share with you is the one project we are running right now, also in a rural place, a rural city. So for this one, we were asked by the municipality to come on a residency for 6 weeks, between 6 months, and also to question an abandoned building. Well, it's not really abandoned, but it's really not used as much as it could be. So it's the building that you can see in the picture, and yeah, they wanted us to come because there are a lot of associations, also there are a lot of activities, a lot of people, a lot of needs, and they don't really know how to shape everything. And they have also a lot of communal buildings, and they need to reorganize all the activities and reorganize the spaces to share it with everyone. So this is also about to optimize also. Yeah.
And it's something that we kind of found super interesting, is that you see in big cities a lot of like I don't know, cool places where you have a bar, you have common works, you have like in big factories that are around like suburban areas and everything. But actually it's also questions that happen in very, very rural territories. And we've been kind of like meeting a lot of municipalities and really small towns that are like, we have a lot of buildings that are unused, that are historical or not, but just instead of coming in and saying, okay, you have land, let's build something, you also have a different approach of what kind of like tiny buildings do you have? You have tiny needs, but they can all fit in here if you think of them well and if you adapt them well to your new situation. But yeah, we've been working a lot on really rural territories, and it's super interesting.
And it's also interesting in the relationship that we have and the role we have between municipalities and inhabitants. Because like for this example, we've been meeting a lot of inhabitants that told us like, okay, I can talk to you because you're not the municipality. And I want to talk with the municipality, and we have this role always in those kind of projects of like being in the middle between a lot of actors and associations and even opponents to the projects and all different of entities that we have to organize also in the working process.
Yeah. So maybe Jade, if you want to, sorry, we can.
So this is also the
inhabitants.
So it's all about like for now. I mean, in the process we are in the. It's all about like collecting feelings and collecting ideas that afterwards we will organize and try to make it
into space sessions. Jeanne, you want to continue?
Yeah. So hi everyone. So as you understand, for us, the words commons is like working together with.
We lost you. Jade, non, t'entends. Is it just us?
No.
Ah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it better now? I'm sorry. Is it better now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, so it's like working in a context, and in order to do that, we also try to develop some specific tools and doing some specific research about what we think was important to focus on in those kind of context. So the pictures you have actually in front of you, it's one of the tools we developed last year, which is called ambianceomètre, like tools to get the, let's say, temperature of the atmosphere, like the ambience of a place. And so that tools were used on the first time in a kind of 2 days workshop in Rennes. And then we decide to go further into the specific tools and to try to improve it in order to, let's say, sell this kind of method to some association or people that would like to have a way to understand the basis in which they want to do some specific project. And so to come over there and trying to feel it in different ways. So it's like for instance, the atmosphere of the social events that happens on the place, or like the really like a perception and body feeling, or whatever it can be. And this will, like all the infos that we gather with these tools can be then translated in order to answer to some problematics. And another researches we also have the opportunity to do is one that was focusing on the minerality of the site, because we were really interested about the fact that when you well, I mean, you know, all that shit, like concrete stuff in a place, ecological problems and so on. And so we wanted to know more about it and to try to check the supposition we had, or I don't know, like understand more about it. And so we had this opportunity to work in a place in Geneva, in Switzerland, in a specific neighborhood which is full of huge urbanist transformation. Like there are gonna be like some very huge tower and so on. And so we spent like several months on these places, and we went to meet the producer of materialities and many things. And then we decided to translate all this information to the people around it, using the form of installation art. And this was a way for us to know more about the territory and its specific context. And so yes, that is basically like the picture of the art installation we've done. And following that research, we were invited by another collective that was working on a urbanism project in this specific place. And we were invited to speak with the citizens and the municipalities and share what we learned over there, and trying to think together what can we do in the legal rules of urbanism plans, but like before the architecture competition. What can we do? What can we write that can have an effect in this neighborhood? And yeah. So 2 examples of how can we get to know the territory in its specificity, materiality, limits, and so on. I think I'm done. I don't know if you wanna add something else.
No, I guess that's it. So we're like really into multiple scale of projects, and in time also, like some projects we follow for years, some projects we do very close in time, and it's just a bit of everything. It's exciting. It's not restful, but it's a cool way of practicing architecture as we see it. Anyway, maybe if you have questions. Okay. Yay. I don't know if you have the mic on. No?
We can hear you.
You need to advance yourself, present yourself to the camera, please. Amène-toi.
Okay, pardon. No, I was asking, how do you get in contact with people? Is it often where you just go up to people? Because in the case of Gloire, if I remember correctly, it was more you guys saw something and went up to people as in like, can we not do something here? If I'm not mistaken. And some of these other projects, it's that like the municipality asked you to come. How do you deal with this, or how do you approach new projects?
I guess it depends on the place and on the project. Sometimes we just, as you say, we arrive and we be like, hey, what's happening here? What can we do? But do you mean like what tools do we use to get people to gather subjects? But I would say the major thing we do is we come
knock on the door.
in. Like we come, we stay, we live in the places where we want to work, and even if it's for a little while, you start being a part of well, it's easier in small territories, but most of the time you arrive somewhere. If you take the example of EASA, which is one of the last projects we shared about the school that the municipality came to us and everything, you arrive here, you're like 4 young people in a very quiet town. Usually people come to you and they're like, what are you doing here? What's happening? And you explain to them that there's going to be changes and there's going to be I don't know, evolutions of their town, and they're like, okay, what do you mean? Like, no, but it's cool because you can be part of it and we're here to hear you out. And but I would say the most important thing is time, and you take the time to kind of like know the places where you work and get to hear what everybody has to say. It takes a long time, and then you come back and you move a little further. And it's mostly, that's also what we think is interesting, is with architecture we feel like everything's going super fast, and you get an order, you create a building, there's like the construction, and there it's done and you kind of let it go. But I think we kind of like the idea of taking our time to making sure that what we produce or what we help produce is relevant and important.
It's also about getting involved in the territory where you work. So yeah, most of the time we move there for the time of the project, even if it's for two periods of 2 weeks or
3 months.
We always live there, and this is also something really important for us, to live in the places we work, to become an inhabitant, to also share informal times, to have dinners, beers, and also really to create this humanity in the project as well. And this is for us the most important thing, to take the time to get to know the people and the functionment of how the territory works, functions, and yeah.
So we had like a constant space that was really defined where we were. Like, for example, in Goa, the last intervention we made, we had like a place center of the city, and I mean, people were welcoming to join every day, and they knew where we were, and so I mean, every day they could have joined. So it's also like time and have like a defined place where people can better information again every day.
Yeah, because sometimes it's you who go out to the people to knock on door and say, okay, oh my God, they found you. Yeah, but sometimes it's us who go out and to kind of like gather people around, and other phases you're like, okay, we are here, we are also inhabiting the building that we are questioning. So this for the school, when we go there to work, we work in the school. People can come and they can see the building and can be like, yeah, it could be this, could be that, what do you think? And so sometimes people come to you or we come to them.
On-site project.
Yeah. Voilà.
I've got a quick question. So obviously these are your kind of like, I guess there's quite a lot of powerful ideas in the initiation of your practice, like it feels like these are kind of the initial projects that kind of are maybe setting the themes for further projects in the future, you guys are probably going to do. And there's the kind of strong, from the INCM did, it was that strong sense of like kind of focus on environmental kind of concerns that were like, the major thing. The fact, I guess now it's like how you've kind of led into that is like working really in a close-knit way with communities, slightly step back as well to kind of like not just jumping into like pouring concrete, doing these kind of interventions. But also like one thing that I noted is that is the kind of like, there was in the INTM bid, there were like 9 women, and everyone was, like most of the people in the collective were women. And I think that's quite a powerful statement of kind of like, I guess, that an all-female, you know, I'm not sure if it's all female right now. I'm not sure how many participants there are and what the kind of social makeup of that is, but especially in the realm of architecture, a kind of quite large all-female collective is a very, you know, it's rare to say the least, but almost non-existent as well. You know, there are very few architecture practices and groups that operate in that way. So it's kind of interesting, kind of constellation of different ideas. So I wonder if you wanted to talk a little bit or share a little bit about how, you know, I guess any of those themes that are pointing out, or if there are more themes that are like not, or if that's, or if them, yeah.
That's true. We get that a lot. Now it's nice, we can, because in, I don't know, well, we can speak like what we do, we can all write it in female, which is cool, because in French there's a really big difference when you speak like what group people, but no, I guess it's kind of like naturally happened. I don't know why. I think we all gathered around common ideas and common I don't know, I said powerful commitments and ethics, and that's something we all share today still, that binds us together, even if we work in different cities, in different territories. It's kind of like, yeah, what binds us together. But yeah, I think it's quite powerful, as you say, that we're all women, we're all also super young in the architecture world kind of. But for now, it's never been, I don't think so, like a struggle or something we have to like defend. It's kind of always, I don't know, girls, if you want to relay on that, but
yeah.
Hi.
Also for in the beginning, it was not really a statement, but maybe after times we realize how powerful it is, and it's also fun because, like, in the profession we are working with, and those kind of social projects and everything, it's a lot of women, like really it's crazy how like in the first residency we've been doing to develop our projects and our association and everything, it was about like 20 girls only in the building we were working in, all working on the care and those kind of projects. And it's kind of,
we're super welcoming. We're like, anybody can join, really, but it's also
I don't know if it says something about commitment, or I don't know why it's always this kind of configuration. But
we do have one, how do you say, somebody who subscribes to your nonprofit, adhérent, I don't know the name in English, that is a man. So we have a quota. Mostly here for pictures and
and actually Kaz started with us, but he left, and then one came and replaced him. So now we're full. Like
maybe it's because no man wants to work with us because we're too much. That's a probability, but who knows?
Made on purpose, but we definitely faced the phase that everything we are doing, we're kind of like more surrounded by women than by men.
Yeah,
I mean, kind of practice.
A good shift in the architecture world, I guess. Not a shift, but like maybe a balance that's happening. Who knows? Oh yeah. Digestion phase.
I'm just like thinking about how we can relate it to what we're doing. Like, when you're talking about time spent in a place and building relationships with like local community members and those periods of time that you like engage properly, and like what it means to like engage with people and properly like translate what they want for a space into a project. Yeah, like it's really nice to see the tools that you're using. And I guess I was wondering if you like have, yeah, if you've done like sort of, if you've had some sort of interview process with people ahead of projects, like is it more like, what is the platform in which you engage? I guess you've already mentioned it, but like, for example, like we like heard yesterday about like this festival happening around the site that we're interested in, and like thinking about like how we might set up camp there, like just like have a stall at the festival, or like whether it's about talking to individuals over like a few months. I don't know, I just wonder if you had any thoughts about like what is, it's kind of the same as what you were talking about, right? But I think that's what we can learn from you guys as well.
I think we tried to do like some several linear interviewing tools and so on, but at the end we didn't do it because we just realized that every context and every people we are speaking it are different, and that we have to find each time the right way to get to the point we wanted to. And so it's basically like doing some activities. If you go to a site, you try to develop some specific links with some association, and then you're, for instance, or like children or whatever, and then you try to do an activities with them that you think they like and enjoy, and that you progressively get to the point. But I mean, it really depends on the people you're going to talk to, and so each time you have to find another way to catch people. So yeah,
I think that's also super important to kind of like try and get to everybody, to every social status, to every age also, because if we want to build like more inclusive spaces, it's important to have everybody's share on the topics. And but like for instance, one tool which I find interesting is that when you work with schools, okay, when you do a residency where you're like, yeah, we're here in the building from 10 to 6 all day long because you work, so it's like you can't be there 24/7 because it's exhausting and you're just paid to do this kind of permanent stay. But you never get to the point where you meet the active people that are working. It's super complicated. You get all the people that are in retirement, you get the kids, you get some people that pass by, but to like really grasp the people that work and live in the spaces, in the cities or in everything, it's complicated because they finish work at 6 and you as well. So what I found interesting is that we started working with schools and with kids. And so you talk to them, they're super like excited and everything. And then they go home to their parents and they're like, today there's like 4 architects that came that asked us to draw really weird things, and they want us to climb a wall, and they wanted to, and so like on the Saturday you have the parents that arrive like, what the fuck are you doing with my kids? What's happening here? And then you can start a process of discussing with these people. And it's super cool because it's also like the more relays the more people you meet, the more relays you get. Like also if you work with a nonprofit that works on the territory, that has been there for years, that knows everybody, if you start to be friends with them and you explain them your process and your needs and they're gonna want to help you all, like most of the time. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll be like, we don't want you to work in our city or on that building. But yeah, you need to count on also on the
one.
existing structures that have been doing this for years, and you need to identify them and just let them spread the word. And I think it's important also to come and to offer moments of a like collective reflection that are different, like as you say, workshops that happen for 2 weeks that are super cool. I don't know, afternoon chats once a week for a year. I mean, it's big. It depends on what you want to do or what you're being asked to do, but yeah, offer different
way to participate.
Yeah, mediums that can also like interest more people. Some people are like, I don't want to spend 2 weeks in a tent sharing food with strangers, but I'd like to come for like bingo night on a Tuesday afternoon. Like, so I would say.
Yeah. And you have to be available on the evening and the weekends. So it's like a very different timeline job also, and you have to be ready for that.
You work in the weekends in a regular agency as well, office. So, I mean, let's not encourage that, but yeah.
Well, team, one thing I remember from when I visited you guys is you just finished making, or you were making these prototypes for a workshop that was about, that you also did in the place you were working in. These like links where you had to put like how do you call them?
Yeah, that's the picture we showed you guys at the end.
Yeah.
That we,
because you have like a very interesting way of approaching some of these interactions in ways that are not directly like what kind of space are you imagining, which is very important for people who are not in a spatial discipline to start to imagine.
Well, that's actually a cool thing, because we were asked to imagine and design a tool to help during an event where there were like 150 people that came to this event around the notion of the mood in the city, like how do you feel places and everything. And yeah, they asked us to design something that would help out the communication around this and the dialogue, and also to help people express some things. And so we created this little tool where you can express like how you feel about a place in different aspects, like how do you feel, feel, how is it built, what do you see, who do you meet there, and it was made so that a group of 20 people could like kind of like express things, discuss it, and then put it in this kind of like sculpture to share it with a bigger group. It was kind of a, yeah. And so there were 6 of them that were made. And now we're kind of using this tool in a new, we're making it kind of evolve to help spaces that are common spaces. I don't know how you call it in English. We call them like the third space in French. It's kind of like, it's not really where you work, it's not really where you live, it's kind of a in between where anything can happen, and it's mostly like those big spaces that are arriving like near our cities, but also in really tiny areas. And yeah, to kind of like question how the places are used right now and how they can evolve. So it's a tool that you can really put like on a urban space, or also in a building, to make it evolve and to put like the discussion of how do you feel about the place on the table, I guess.
And it's also, this tool is also well, we hope that this tool in his development will be used for also
like the people that are that buy land, and then they like kind of decide the program, the thing, and then they order you a building. those people, that the
bad ones.
the bad guys.
No, but this is also about having these notions of like mostly feelings and more like sensitive way of seeing and feeling the city into real orders, because this is also something that we never talk about when you receive an order to build a building or an area or anything. And the idea with this tool was also to take into account this part of living the city and the quality of the spaces that you're gonna design and build. Yeah.
It was
We are still testing it out.
Yeah. But I mean, it was pretty interesting because I mean, we got that order in a moment where we were like, okay, how can we make like transcript whatever events we're doing, like how do we keep something from whatever we are doing, and I mean, we got that order from that event in particular, but I mean, this is something we were still developing, and then that is really important in our structure, in our association, because it's actually like, okay, put into words how you feel, put into words what you observe, and what is happening to that place or what you do. And I mean, it has been shaped for that event in particular, but we're still developing it too, and it's part of our of the research we're still, that it's ongoing with the association. And yeah, it was pretty nice to do this. And that's part of like the real the freedom we have in our practice to do that kind of design, to design objects like this, which are very like on a purpose that, I mean, we couldn't have imagined before. Like this is really related to the freedom we have in the collective and in the practice before.
Yeah, like, thanks so much, guys, for sharing. It's been really interesting.